sconfittuate forse.
Thanks. I mean, it's great. Every artist hopes that the thing that they build will find an audience. And to find an audience as big as the one that Mia has found, yeah, it's really gratifying. I didn't envisage that she would be as popular as she is because she's not really a likable person. She's very selfish. She's quite vain. She drinks, she smokes, she swears. She's not typically heroic in any. She's not typically heroic in the kind of epic fantasy sense. She's not about righting a great injustice or making the world a better place. She's motivated by purely selfish motives. But along the way, she learns what is important to her as a person, and you get a glimpse that she's not all rage, she's not all vengeance. She does care very deeply about her friends, she cares very deeply about her family, and there's a line, morally speaking, that she won't cross. She doesn't want to become as bad as the monsters that she's trying to kill. She comes pretty close at a couple of points in the narrative, but as far as how it feels, I mean, it's amazing. I get amazing letters from readers from all over the world telling me that this character got them through really rough times, you know, from financial collapse and divorce and the death of loved ones. I had a girl come up to me in a signing line with a copy of Cosgrave in her hand, and she was crying, and she said that that book was how she came out to her parents and to her friends. So yeah, it's incredible, and it's been quite, over the last year and a half, it's been a real journey for me to actually wrap my head around the idea that this character that just came out of my head, that I made up when I was wearing my pajama pants and my slippers, can actually mean almost more to the readers than she means to me. That took me a little while to get used to, but I'm always gratified, I'm always humbled, and I'm incredibly thankful to everyone who found something of themselves in the character that built it. It's like I was saying before, showing up tonight to a room full of people in a country that only comes to every 5 years, who speak a language that I speak maybe 100 words of. It's actually really hard to articulate how good, how gratified I am to be sitting up here tonight. So, yeah. I mean, I do, yes. But I mean, you guys obviously all like it. You can't hate it so much because you filled the room in Milano. There's masochists. If I'm a sadist, then you're all masochists. But yeah, I mean, the idea that an imaginary character who lives in an imaginary world and struggles with imaginary problems in her imaginary life can make people feel anything at all, whether it be angry or sad or happy or surprised. That to me is the best part of making art. The idea that this idea that begins in my head and becomes words on a page and then sits in your hand and makes you feel something in here. I think that's the closest thing to magic there is in this world. If there's anything more magical, I can't imagine it. The idea that my art can make you feel, that people who aren't even real can make you cry or make you throw a book at the wall or whatever. That's as close to magic as I can imagine. So, yes, I enjoy it. You enjoy it too. And yeah, I take it as the highest form of compliment. It sounds weird when people send pictures of themselves crying. I'm sorry that I made you cry, but I'm not really sorry.
È un linguaggio molto esplicito. Ti hanno mai criticato, ti hanno mai detto Jay sei troppo eccessivo, forse dovresti edulcorare un po' la trama per piacere di più?
You mean my publisher? Yeah. No, my publisher is really understanding. My US publisher, I published I think 3 books before Nevernight came out with him, and he and I have known each other for a number of years, and he knows what kind of stories that I write, and he likes the same kind of stories. So no, I've never really been told to pull back the swearing or the violence. I have been told to pull back on the sex a little. And that's because Pete is my editor in the States. He has just become a father, and he's fallen into the way of thinking that one day his daughter is going to read his books, and he's turned into a little bit of a prude as a result. And so every time I send him a book, the first note that comes back is like, oh, it's great, can we turn down the sex just a little bit? And I say no. And then he says, okay, haha, and we move on with our day. So, no, it's... He tries, but he doesn't try very hard. Because he knows the audience have come to expect it a little bit, I guess. So he understands that even though that's not his sensibility, it is what you guys are into. So he pushes, but not pushes too far. So I'm very lucky in that respect.
Dei titoli da suggerire ai tuoi lettori che hanno finito di leggere la saga di Nevernight e magari hanno nostalgia del mondo 2000, qualcosa che ti ha ispirato anche nel costruire la saga, e rileggere Nevernight come risposta.
I mean, I have other books, you can buy those. Montadori has put out the Nevernight files, you can go read those if you like. And I've got a new series coming out. In theory it will be out next year if I finish writing it this year. And that's called Empire of the Vampire. And that's very much a spiritual successor to Nevernight. It's the same kind of dark, epic fantasy story that I'm telling in Nevernight, but with vampires on top of it. So those of you who like, did anyone like Adamine as a character? Yeah, right. Yeah, he's weird. But yeah, Adamine is kind of a prototypical vampire. So I grew up reading stories like Interview with the Vampire and Salem's Lot and Live Girls where the vampires were bad guys. And I wanted to write a book because vampires kind of became romantic love interests somewhere along the way. And that's fine, it's not what I'm into though. So I'm kind of bringing vampires back into being monsters and bad guys. So if you can wait that long, I think it's out next year. The theory. Sure. So Empire it's based on a real life event that happened in 536 AD and 540 AD. People think there was a volcanic explosion. We're not quite sure because history wasn't very well recorded back then. But we think there was a volcanic explosion or a meteor that hit the Earth and threw a whole bunch of dust, particulate matter into the atmosphere, and the light of the sun kind of got cut by 70–80%. So you could still see the sun, but it wasn't warm. Winter lasted for 10 months, all the crops died, there was a huge famine that swept the land, and there were a bunch of wars that got fought. So all these disasters kind of took Europe. But in the world that I'm writing, that same thing happens, but vampires are real. So they realise that they can walk around during the day now. The one thing that kind of kept them in check is no longer a factor, and so they start popping up all over this country and slowly taking it over. And the book is it's written around a man named Gabriel. He's kind of a paragon of a religious order. He's a very famous vampire hunter who used to kill them for a living. But he's in prison for the murder of the vampiric king, and he's waiting his execution. And a vampiric chronicler is recording his life. But he's at the end of his life, he's kind of faithless and broken. He's lost his belief in himself, he's lost his belief in God. And he starts telling the story when he was a young man and how he reached the point where we find him at the start of the book. So it's kind of a cross between Interview with a Vampire and Name the Wind. But there's going to be an illustrated part of the book as well. As Gabriel tells the story, the vampire is drawing pictures of scenes or characters that we meet in the telling. So there's going to be a visual element of the book as well. I try and do something different with every book. So with Nevernight I had footnotes, and with Illuminate we did a whole bunch of typography and weird graphic design. And in Empire we're going to do illustrations. So just because I like to make my publishers life difficult.